All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Organic Fitness Podcast. I have here in front of me the official Power of Organic Fitness book. I'm also doing something extremely new. What I'm doing right now is I'm streaming a live TikTok at this moment in time. So if you're not following me on TikTok, I highly recommend it. Why? Because you get your name most certainly shouted out. This being the podcast recorded, and on this screen right here, I am multitasking. And some people say men can't multitask, but to fit in as much as I possibly can in the given day and to reach out to as many people as I can, I literally am doing the podcast and the recording at the same time. So there will be questions coming in literally from these lives. So if you do have questions or you would like to shoot out over to that live, get on in on it. So podcast is live. We are talking about all things organic fitness with the power of organic fitness coming out. I may say that about 100 times in this podcast because it's such a relief to have it out. I'm so happy that it's out. It took me 2.5 years to write, and I actually have an image of all the coins that I've dropped in a jar to most certainly get me to this point of having this book in my hand. So there will be questions coming over through the likes of the live that I have right here, right now. I'm just going to flick down through, I suppose, the chapters. First of the chapters like this book goes into is the likes of, carbohydrates, proteins, and the next chapter is fats. That's exactly what the body runs off. The more you understand foods, the better it is for your overall health. I have no preference to diets. I want people to eat more whole foods. Don't be restricted to just one specific diet. If you want to be a vegan, you want to be a vegetarian, I train them people on the organic fitness program. But the whole idea of it is the more people that I suppose realize that you can eat any which way. At certain times of the year, I eat a hell of a lot more plant-based meals. At certain times of the year, then I most certainly bump up and eat more meats. Eggs are a religious part of my diet due to the fact that I wrote a chapter and a section in the book about them because they're so important, because they're healthy fats and they're a complete protein. They contain all essential amino acids. So good for your health. And there are different, I suppose, levels, different grades of eggs that I do discuss in this book. That is officially out on Amazon. Okay, next chapter. We're gonna. This is unreal. I love this idea already. This was actually sent in to me by anonymous. They wanted to stay anonymous, but a DM on Instagram. Could you go through the book to tell more people a little bit about it? And I said, oh my God, that is such a great idea. Who got here? We got roses coming in there, and as well as that, I'm pretty sure that's either a corn sent, a wave sent in. How are we doing? Let me stay in the comments there. Keep asking the comments, and we will certainly get them too. So the next couple of chapters in relation to gut health. That's a huge chapter because it has a massive effect, especially on the production of serotonin. And how do you increase the production of serotonin? You eat more high fiber foods. What foods contain high fiber? All different fruits and vegetables. There's also a list that's in this book. What's up from Clearwater? I have the earbuds in to listen to your live. Okay, so we have most certainly Shane, who's a long-term listener and a long-term friend of the show. Shout out to Shane. So on top of that, then there are 6 signs of an unhealthy gut, 5 ways to improve your health, gluten intolerance or glyphosate intolerance. I love that part of the book because a lot of people must realize that the fact glyphosate intolerances and the likes of glyphosate and your gluten intolerance symptoms are very similar. So it's well worth, I suppose, adding in gluten organic foods to try and see, do you still have the same symptoms? Because a lot of people actually are intolerant to the glyphosate. Glyphosate can cause bloating and issues with an upset stomach, which are, I suppose, one of the 2 main symptoms that are and do come from both gluten and glyphosate. So straight away then, feed your gut for improved mood. Bish bash bash. There's the gut health section. Major fan of that. Anybody that I train literally nails down their diet because you cannot outtrain a bad diet. We most certainly have a question in here from Ashley, and it is very important. I'm going to shout it out here now. I keep asking about allergies in high histamine foods. Is that in the book? Yes, there are several different areas that it touches on in the book. So for the main part of which, organic fitness foods that would reduce histamine are your dark leafy greens. Okay, and firstly, another classic, that would be kale, that would be spinach, that could be rainbow chard, that you can either grow your own or buy it, but whatever you do, most certainly add it to your diet. That line is in the book. Most certainly chalk it down. And next point of which, another high antihistamine foods you can definitely come into the season for a reason is stinging nettles. Stinging nettles and have been something I have consumed since a very young age. My father would have been quite, I suppose, healthy and still is quite healthy, and that's down to his diet and his lifestyle that he currently lives. Being a big GA man, it's a national sport here in Ireland. My dad would have raised us to pick nettles in spring and make nettle soup with them. Literally harvesting young shoots of stinging nettle and then literally putting them in the book. Didn't you know how the book? Cool. What is the book about in 2 sentences? The book is about improving your overall health. Eating the likes of, I suppose, single ingredient foods, getting them local, fresh, and organic is something I highly recommend throughout this book. Why? Because you cannot outtrain a bad diet. I help people to improve their overall health. Most certainly a byproduct of that is people lose weight. Too many people just focusing on losing weight. So I hope that elevator pitch was enough to sell the book to Iana 7. I love the way this works. So next on the chapters of the book coming out now are conventional versus organic. There are 2 major points between the likes of conventional and organic, and the first of which is organic food is not grown with the likes of harsh chemicals such as glyphosate. Glyphosate is a carcinogenic. The sooner people realize that, the better. It's something that hadn't, I suppose, been a major problem, but however, when people are buying and consumers drive demand, they're buying foods that are quote unquote cheap. And if you get food for 59 cents, 99, whatever, less than $1, less than €1, or less than £1, the whole idea of it is what you're actually doing is most certainly trying, you're actually encouraging more so people to inevitably still produce food like that. But that's, I'm a firm believer in the fact that food is never cheap, and food most certainly, if it is cheap, the price is not paid at the counter. It's paid long before that. Either the individual who picks it, the farmer who is supposed to inevitably grows it, and or the customer and the consumer of that product. Why? With their health. That is something also is discussed in this book between organic and conventional. Organic certifications. The difference between, I suppose, something that's chemical free and organic is the wording, and it's registered. So if you are growing at home, it most certainly is something that is chemical free. However, you cannot say the word organic. So my mom and dad are growing organically at home. I'd like to say Emma, I know we are shout out on the likes of his life over from Scotland. He came over to do one of the organic fitness retreats. Next one is inevitably not this weekend, it is the weekend after that. And right now the date is eluding me. So if this week's 11th and 7th, is that 21? 23. So someone might help me out on that on the line. Not the 11, 7 days plus that. Hit me up with the answer to that. So yes, next thing we discuss is organic fitness foods. We have so many different organic fitness foods that right now I'm just going to go on to one that's currently in season. Okay, beetroot. It's actually better than a banana. That's actually the title. It's in this chapter of the book, just due to the fact that why? A lot of people eat bananas for potassium, regulating your fluid levels. So if you are exercising or playing sports, whether your kids are going into sports and they're typically eating bananas, and bananas are flown in from typically tropical countries, beetroots can be grown at home or definitely bought organically. The fact is that they contain higher potassium than a banana. So if inevitably you want to add in beetroot to your diet, you are Emma, legend. You are most certainly going to gain the advantage of potassium in a higher concentration than the bananas. Winning on that front. And the organic fitness retreat that is on the 24th of June is so most certainly going to have beetroot. Why? Because it's in season, and also something that can reduce wrinkles. How do you like those apples? Winning, and yeah, it's the antioxidant anthocyanins, and certainly we are in for the win discussing the likes of antioxidants throughout this book because they reduce stress, less stress, more energy. Someone here on the likes of, unless it comes from farmers, one is familiar well with. Yeah, and that's so important. I've always had that major influence. You go way back to literally, I'd say, number 3 on the podcast, and there's over 2.5 years of content. It's most certainly something I've said from the very start. You get things local, you get things fresh, and the gold standard is organic. You want to remember that and try and get closer to the farmer, to the grower, the person who most certainly is going to give you the food that is giving you energy, because food is medicine. And I want more people to consume whole foods, and as a result of that, you will need less supplements, because the definition of a supplement is to supplement what you cannot get from your diet. Magnesium being a massive one of them. And as a result of that, how would you hit your magnesium requirements from the likes of whole foods? I'm going to go with your hemp seeds. Hemp seeds is a complete protein, one of the 3 main complete proteins come from plant-based sources. This is not me trying to push a plant-based diet on anybody and everybody. I'm just mentioning these. Next thing is pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, 15 grams would be another 20% of your overall. So it's 20% with the hemp seeds, 20% with your pumpkin seeds, you're on 40% already. You go with a bean, something that you can grow yourself. French climbing beans would definitely be one I would recommend. Why? Because it's so easy. They climb up a string and you can pick them off like James the giant beanstalk and have the advantages of protein, fiber, and magnesium. So that's 2, 4, 6. You have 40% left. Where would you get it? Go for cacao. It's literally something that does so many different benefits and is on one of the sections in the last couple of chapters of the book. 15 grams of that, which again is about a big spoon, would be 40% of your daily recommended amount of magnesium in a 24-hour day. And that's why I recommend it. Not only that, it contains magnesium, it also contains, most certainly, it contains healthy fats that can naturally improve your brain, your cognitive function, to think clear. And I've actually been chatting to 2 particular women who have their children going through the junior cert and the leaving cert. It's just the exams that here are happening right as of this week in Ireland. And they are now bumping up their magnesium and they are cacao as a result of that. I use New Naturals, and that is something that I do have a discount code for, Colman 15. If you would like to use that, if you don't want to use it, I'm either the best influencer or the worst. There you go. Take it or leave it. They're an Irish company, and I use their products. Here we go. Is there a way? Just question in here. Is there a way to know things that should definitely be sourced organic? And I do love that question coming in. So, point of which is the fact. The foods that I recommend that you consume organically is the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So this is a list of foods that I most certainly can go through right now, just because it's really important. It's on page 90 of the book. So if you have the book right now, you'd be flicking out of page 90. I love how this is written. I don't think I've been on page 90 yet. My own book. So we're going straight on to the 90, the 83, the 10, the 5, the 90. Oh God, it's so well. Who wrote this book? So I'm going to list them out here. Those of you on YouTube, you most certainly will see this list. And next thing is we are going through the likes of the podcast through the live here on TikTok at the same time. So this is the list of the Dirty Dozen. Okay, these are so important to get organically. Okay, these are strawberries, spinach, kale. Okay, which is also collard greens. You have nectarines. These are all soft fruits, apples, grapes, cherries, peaches, pears, bell, and hot peppers. Most certainly then celery and tomatoes. Those are the Dirty Dozen, which are extremely important to add to your diet when you get them organic, or when you consume foods and you want to buy foods that are extremely important. Why is this? Page 94.7. So there's just a comment I'm laughing at here on TikTok. I'm definitely doing this again. Definitely, it's such a good thing. So then, and why is that? Because those fruits and vegetables are the ones that are typically sprayed at a high concentration throughout their growing season, and as a result of that, they also are inevitably where the chemicals land. So take the example of spinach. When the chemicals are sprayed, inevitably it lands on the leaf, and then minimal amounts can be taken off it when it is washed. However, the grand total of that leaf is going to be eaten, and we are consuming a high percentage of those chemicals. So this is the Clean 15. These are not so important to get organic, but in fact, if you had a list of foods that you ate and they were on this Clean 15 that I'm just about to read out to you, it is most certainly a food item that I would recommend to you to switch over to organically. So avocados, why? Because you don't eat the likes of the skin. Even though if I get them organic, I do eat the skin, but that's just because it's a typical fact. It's also in the book. The higher the antioxidants are most certainly at higher concentration in the skin or just below. So I actually eat potato skins for that matter. Avocados, no, not all people's thing. I would eat them. I must do a video on that. I'm sure I've done banana at one stage. Is there tips for growing your own food in your book as well? Who's after saying that? Because by God, you're getting a shout out. Who's WHOS2 say? Yes, there certainly is. And that is in each and every one of the vegetables and fruits that I have listed in here. How to grow your own tips, strategies, spacings, and some of the varieties. So just a squash. If you're growing squash, I highly recommend you get Crown Prince. Absolute breadwinner. Thanks everybody on this evening's live. Double tapping and sending in any gifts. That's super helpful. And I love the questions. Keep them coming. Can we take specifically peaches? Where on earth can one find them organic? Not a single UK store. I'm going to tell you why there isn't a high concentration of the likes of peaches in the UK and Ireland for that matter, because peaches need to be and are much more inclined to grow well in warmer temperatures. So unless you have growers in your area that would most certainly have a south-facing wall, inside there is less likely for them to be able to produce in those climates such as the UK and Ireland. Inevitably, they would and are from warmer countries. So I am certainly training fruit trees up against a south-facing wall. Currently, apples, pears, and peaches will be coming up very soon. I love what I do because I get to do things that are healthy. And inevitably, that is the main reason. But that's a great question. So I'm getting back to the likes of the Clean 15. So we're going in with sweet corn, not that important. Why? Because they have large leaves that inevitably cover the cob, and if some of the chemicals are sprayed on those leaves, we typically don't eat those leaves, and that just makes it one of the foods on the Clean 15. Next, we go on to pineapples. Again, you typically don't eat the likes of the skin of the pineapples. Onions, yes, because we keep on peeling off the layers of the skin. Another one. But I would most certainly, it's organic fitness food, and I love that because, right, it's so easy to grow onions. You put a bulb in the ground, it swells. You pick it, and if you pick it when it has the stalk on it, you get the greens, which are unbelievably tasty and nutritious, and you get the swollen bulb. It's a double bang for your buck. Then we go with papayas. Again, tropical hot countries must be growing it. We got sweet peas. Then we go with the likes of eggplant, which I'll give you just a fact, nutritional fact right here, right now. It's the fact that the eggplant, which is also known as an aubergine here in Ireland, does contain a certain amount of nicotine. Did you know that? I just was trying to read comments here, so apologies on the likes of the podcast. I'm just flicking through some of the comments here now. There was one question I'm definitely going to go back to. It is most certainly the fact that if there was one fruit or vegetable, one vegetable you for the rest of your life, which you would eat, which would it be? And I'm going to answer that question most certainly. So you can look down to, I am a local grower. How to find them? I'm ready. I am all for local growers. How to find them? Question mark. I'm ready to find them. All right, most certainly send me a personal message and I will link you up with as many of the growers that I do know of and can connect you with. All right. I take mixed stuff on the grape seed. What's your opinion? I keep asking the questions. I got so many questions right here today. I better finish off these points of the Clean 15. Keep asking the questions. I'll literally go down through them as I do this week's live and podcast at the same time. So we got broccoli. Yep, broccoli isn't a food that is highly recommended because they have huge leaves. Huge. Let's just take the example of a broccoli head. It's probably as big as your head, but the leaves will be much broader and wider. They're like palm-shaped, huge leaves left and right, and it's not organic fitness food for the main reason that if you're growing them, you only get pretty typically one main head, and then the whole thing literally takes about 90 to 120 days. That's too long for me. And other plants, then cabbage, similar families, very similar in growing habits. You have the kiwi fruit, cauliflower, very similar again to the likes of your cabbage and your broccoli. Then you have mushrooms, because again, they're typically grown in the likes of a growing room. And then you have the likes of cantaloupe, melons, and honeydew. Those are the foods that I suppose don't recommend and are not recommended to consume organically because you typically don't eat the skin of those fruits. So the vegetable, to get back to this question, the vegetable that I would most certainly choose to consume for the rest of my life going for the nutritional one, probably potatoes, because I would just about survive off potatoes because they do have the likes of a complex carbohydrate. They do have potassium, and for centuries, most certainly, they have been grown in Ireland and have kept us alive and very staple food in my own diet. And I grow them, and they're absolutely delicious, and they don't make you fat. And most certainly, if you do want to reduce the insulin spike in consuming potatoes as being a carbohydrate, you literally use a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, which I do recommend. So exciting about the book, and it's on its way. Thank you so much. We got that. Edgar, major shout out to my man who's based in Dungarvan, County Waterford. There we go. What's the best way to prepare potatoes? I love that question coming in from Ash here on the live. It is definitely to steam them and then most certainly to leave them cool and consume them, in fact, the next day, because actually it builds on a resistant starch that is found in the potatoes and is something that your beneficial microorganisms love. So you're maximizing the benefits of a complex carbohydrate. You're having it with the likes of the skin. Again, you're adding fiber, and most of the antioxidants are found either in the skin or just below it. I love these question sets. This is great. I love how this is working. So what else we got coming up in and on this book? I'm most certainly going to go, oh my goodness, we have just happened to end up on the potato section. And I love chatting about the likes of foods that come into season very, very soon. And potatoes are one of them, and sown typically after the last frost. Mental how much you know about what someone said here in the comments. And inevitably, you can gain that advantage too if you read the book. But either or, just listen to this podcast and you gain so much information, or keep asking me questions, and I will most certainly will talk all things fitness foods. So potatoes are so versatile, they're like a staple food. That's how I start off the section of the potatoes. Beneficial of the likes of potatoes, they actually do contain iron, but it's a non-heme iron that isn't as easy absorbed, so people are typically low on iron. I'm not straight away recommending to consume potatoes for their iron, but they do contain it. They also contain potassium, which is beneficial to people who are exercising on a regular basis, which is also recommended in the Organic Fitness book available on Amazon. I'm going to keep saying that because why? It took me 2.5 years to write it, and it was very difficult for me. But just because something's difficult doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Yeah, I mean, so I'm happy to be sharing these. Seasonal herbs are great to enhance your overall health, and the Organic Fitness spices most certainly to add to your diet. The ones I would straight away mention would be ginger and turmeric. Ginger is anti-inflammatory. Turmeric has the main advantage of not only is it improving your skin glow. I love orange colored foods. It also boosts protein in your brain called BDNF. That helps you retain information. I have definitely become more intelligent as I've got older. Because I would tell you what, I couldn't concentrate for 5 minutes, but also that was really down to, I suppose, different things such as grounding, exercise on a regular basis also boosts your BDNF, and sunlight exposure, improving blood flow from grounding and sunlight. Sun gazing is something I do first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening. I typically wear these blue light blocking glasses. Swanwick, boom, link in my tree link. But yes, other than that, which alcohol is the best for belly fat preventing beer belly? And that comes in from Jack here on the live. Touching on the likes of alcohol. Alcohol is a carbohydrate, and for that matter, it is liquid calories, so it doesn't contain fiber. Fiber is something that is a major benefit to your overall health. I don't necessarily recommend alcohol, but however, it is something that I have in small amounts at certain times of the year. I mightn't drink for weeks on end. I might even go months because it's not something that is deemed quite healthy, but I don't banish it out of mine or anybody else I train in the Organic Fitness program for the main reason of restriction. If you restrict anything completely from your diet, inevitably it ends up on a binge, whether that's peanut butter, whether that's fats, whether it's chocolate, whether it's processed foods, and or it's alcohol in this case. The idea is to have it at certain times and try to factor it in. And there is no, I suppose, alcohol that would help with preventing body fat. However, there are lower calorie drinks which most certainly can be consumed. Lower calorie beers, so a light beer as opposed to full pint of Heineken. So Coors Light would be an example of that. And there are other pints available. I think I may have to say that. And other things such as spirits. Spirits would be much lower calorie, and really having that with maybe a soda water, which is really hydrating and getting you drunk at the same time. And also a fact of which is not adding in the likes of sugar from the cordials, the lemon, the limes, or the anything else to be in there, the raspberries, pouring in and out of the bottle. What you want to do is actually add in a physical lime or a physical fruit, because, and you can, remember, if they have strawberries, you can gain the advantage of consuming that strawberry if you're having a liquid alcohol beverage. That's a great question. Someone really did know dirt when you did your book. Someone really did dirty when they did your book cover. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I just read that out like someone in Anchorman. So yeah, that's happened. Something amazing and beneficial spices. Yes, oh yeah. And going on, I suppose, going through what else is in the likes of this book right here, right now. And I most certainly do go through in the last chapter, personal development. It's a firm believer of myself that anybody wants to achieve anything and to be successful, and it does not necessarily mean writing a book. It is setting and getting clear on what you want. And when you do that, sometimes you actually have to slow down, because a lot of us go from job to job, from this to that, to work, to gym, to exercise, to relationships, to homes, to family members, and we don't actually slow down. And sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And that's, I suppose, a medicine that I have to take myself, and that I inevitably pass on to people that I mentor, coach, or that listen to the podcast. Goal setting is a key factor for not wasting time, because time is something you cannot get back. You have to most certainly write down your perfect day and get clear on the small specific things that could incrementally get you closer to the things you want. If you want to lose weight, what do you have to do? You start to clean up your diet. You want to have to improve on your sleep. You most certainly have to do a shopping on a regular basis, and or go get foods delivered to your door. Those are your two options, and or grow some. And with the point of which, if you are looking to improve and get out of it either a job or literally get a relationship or into a relationship, you also have to spend time in it. Time is something they're not making any more of. So this is why I'm a firm believer in getting clear and writing down your perfect day. A time that you get up at, most certainly a time that you have your breakfast, time that you work from, have your lunch, time you finish work, time you exercise, time you have your dinner, and a time you unwind and go to bed. All those things are key. And there's my phone notifying me that it's on 20%. All those things are key if you want to go through the likes of any fitness goal. And one thing I'm a firm believer in, people who are supposed to strive for the likes of having things perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. You need to be, and I say this with, I suppose, hand on heart, stop saying and being and thinking that you have to be the best. You just have to be your best on any given day, given 100%. And if people are saying, I don't have time, I must, and you have a weight management problem, you don't have a weight management problem, you have a time management issue. You need to line out your day. You need to get clear on what you want. And foods have a massive effect and a part to play in that. No specific diets focused in on, I suppose, and or focused on anybody by myself. I have a preference towards eating single ingredient foods that contain fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, macronutrients. That's what the body runs off. And the closer we stick to the best type of food that suits you and your gut and you and your family, and family could be literally your partner, could be you, mother, your father, your grandparents, whoever you're hanging around with, your friends, and literally that's what you're looking to, I suppose, do on a more regular basis. Be the best version of yourself. And that is something that I'm such a firm believer in. When people do and want to improve in their health, food is medicine, and that is clearly outlined in this, and lifestyle is key. All right, and that is a good way, I suppose, for us to wrap up this week's podcast right here, right now. And I suppose I really did enjoy the likes of the banter we had with the comments and the questions coming in here on the likes of this TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, I highly recommend you to go over there right here, right now. Don't waste any time. The link will also be in the show notes. So it's Colman Power Organic Fitness. Same with everything that you most certainly would ever need in relation to the buying of any of the organic fitness, I suppose, book, e-cookbook, and/or the Grow Your Own courses or the organic retreats that are down. Next one is on the 24th of June, which is very, very soon. I would love to see you there. 3 days, 2 nights of all things healthy. And also, if you were interested in growing your own, I do recommend you getting in contact for the next Grow Your Own course, which is actually on this Saturday, which is the 11th. If anyone is available, there will be book signings with my initials. It's official. It's official. The book's out. Yes, it is. And you'll be getting it signed by myself and a specific personal note. And if anybody goes to the retreats on the 24th of June, check those out. And what else? We're just going to quickly. Last question here. Definitely got to get clear on what you want. Just order the book. Good point. Last chapter started working on, and book covers class. Someone mentioned book covers. Good. That's the first person said to me today. Next and last and final question. Best brain foods. Okay, there are 3 different brain foods. Okay, turmeric. Most certainly, I would recommend because it boosts that BDNF. You have the increased blood flow from the likes of beetroot, and blueberries would be the third. There's 3 classic foods, 2 of the main antioxidants. Okay, you have the anthocyanins in the purple, blueberries and beetroot, and finally the likes of your turmeric, which boosts not only the antioxidant is beta carotene, which naturally brightens your skin. Same color as my top right now. I do love bright colors, just like bright foods. Why? Because the darker the color, the higher the antioxidants. Yes, oh yeah. Okay, right. And last brain food I would definitely recommend is cacao powder. I mentioned that already in this live and in this podcast. Love ending these podcasts by saying stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic. Book is out. Oh fish. Check that out.